I'll probably start going through do a series of videos on Cancerous fanbases, probably the same way Mr. Metacore did. Lots of people send me this article and I really can see why. I was someone who loves to write fanfictions and I love to tease the fujoshis with some yaois, but this is not gonna be a good time for the fandoms for anything at all. The reason is simple. These guys have been smoking too fucking much.
Tokyo Ghoul fans demand Ishida commit suicide after new chapter.
That's right. The fans of Tokyo Ghoul wants their creators to kill themselves because, well, this is really too much of a spoiler to be quite honest, especially when this is the anime's main pairing.
The international fanbase went insane after chapter 125 of Tokyo Ghoul leaked online. Scanners quickly translated the chapter and fans were eager to read it, but a large segment of the fanbase went apeshit upon learning that Kaneki and Toka have sex.
That's right, two characters have sex in Tokyo Ghoul and they are heterosexual. Triggering ensued. My favorite out of all of them is,
"Fucking tanker token, I have PTSD!"
That's right, someone have PTSD after learning that their ship sank. Even though it's pretty freaking obvious in the anime and the manga that they're gonna end up together anyway. You're an idiot.
If you read Tokyo Ghoul from the start or watched the anime, you'll know that it's obvious that Kaneki and Toka have feelings for each other, but a dedicated segment of fans were adamant that Kaneki and his male best friend Hide would end up as a couple, only to have their ship destroyed by Sui Ishida.
I can't. You have to be so mentally ill if you want people to kill themselves because your ship isn't canon. If you're just joining me, this isn't the first time, by the way. We'll get to that.
Most fanbases have ravenous shipping wars, and it's not uncommon for popular ships to sink because they don't fit into the story. Even fairy tale creator Hiromashima had to plead with his fans to stop attacking each other based on shipping.
You know, people hated me when I say that Mao from Devil is a Part-Timer is better suited with Emi rather than Chiho, but that doesn't mean that I hate Mao and Chiho together. I think they're fantastic together too. Chiho is one of the sweetest, nicest girls out there in the anime. Probably one of my favorite moe characters. She has that great balance between being really nice, really cute, kind of whiny, but still within reasonable levels. I would love to see a story where they ended up together, even though I personally prefer him with Emi because I think the story is a lot more challenging and the chemistry is a lot more interesting. Chiho already likes Mao and Mao already likes her, although just as friend, so the story between the two can get a little boring unless some interesting conflicts happen. Same with Nightwing. I'm open for Nightwing and Starfire, even though I prefer Nightwing with Batgirl. Sure, I got pissed off that certain universes Nightwing end up being with Starfire, but I'm not gonna tell the creators to kill themselves or something unless the story was so bad and so poorly written. Even then, I'd rather kill myself first. My point is, I have my preferred ships, but I usually don't mind other ships. Sure, there are things that I personally disagree with, but I always see why people love that particular ship to begin with, and see its strengths and weaknesses. It's perfectly fine. I just want stories to execute these ships well, to the point where I go, that is actually interesting. I would love to see more stories. But unfortunately, Cancerous fandoms are cancerous.
Sadly, Tokyo Ghoul fans didn't get the message as they promptly attacked Ishida on social media with claims that he is homophobic and sharing pictures burning Tokyo Ghoul manga copies. Some fans even demanded that Ishida commit suicide while sharing their joy in pirating the series instead of legally supporting their once favorite manga.
Yep, went on that far. Peak freaking Tumblr, ladies and gentlemen. Peak freaking Tumblr. You can't make this shit up. This will happen. Thankfully, there are lots and lots of support from many other Tokyo Ghoul fans. Definitely go to his social media account and send in your supports. This is why I tend to quit fandoms, especially those that are so dedicated within their community to protect things that they perceive to be pure. Fandoms are fucking cancerous. They're gonna ravage you if your ship is something they don't like, or you drew something that they don't like. And the thing is, like the last Marisu article said in my last video, a lot of people got so angry about the things on fandom, all in the name of social justice. They're gonna shout out that these canon pairings are homophobic, or the fact that this doesn't happen is homophobic, because heterosexuality is gross. Yes, that is right. People consider heterosexuality gross. That is one of the actual complaints that Mary Sue had on their last article. In fact, they practically called it out before this entire thing even happens. Let me get this straight. The most natural biological attraction that human beings have in order to reproduce, that is apparently gross. It is so gross to the point where some of these Tumblrites have PTSD. To all Japanese mangakas out there, if you have a fandom that gets pissy when a hetero relationship is confirmed and not a homo one, just look at how these people act and think for just 1 second, if their opinions are actually worth listening to. No, they're not. And I will show you why. All of you creators out there, not just Japanese creators, Western creators out there, these people are in the pursuit of destroying heterosexuality. I am not kidding.
Straight people don't exist, new research says.
I really wish I was making this shit up.
A recent study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology undermines long-held beliefs about heteronormative sexual orientation. The study looks at gender expression in women and measures their physiological response, viewing a variety of pornographic material. It found that regardless of how women self-report their sexuality, their bodies respond positively to both hetero and homosexual sex, meaning women's sexuality is complex and not within the bounds of strict hetero or homosexuality.
Porn? What? You're well aware that sexuality is way beyond than just porn, right? Sexuality is more than just attraction. If you declare yourself to be straight, then you want to have a heterosexual relationship with your partner, not just a partner to have sex with. As far as I remember, most people don't hire prostitutes to marry them. I've heard reports of straight men having sex with other straight men. Having sex does not automatically mean attraction, even if it's gay sex between straight men. You know that, right? At this point, it's a matter of semantics because my definition of being straight is wanting to have a long-lasting heterosexual relationship and not just someone to have sex with, not just what taste of porn that I have. There can be some straight people who enjoy gay porn. Hell, I like yaois. I like yuris. I've heard women who enjoy watching other women schlicking. You said that in that article yourself. This isn't to say that their interest in porn reflects to their actual sexuality or preferences of what their romantic partners are. That's about as equal as saying, oh, some women have sexual fantasies to be raped in porn, therefore they want to be raped in real life.
Rich C. Savin Williams is the Director of Developmental Psychology and the Director of the Sex and Gender Lab in the Department of Human Development at Cornell University. The study occurred in this lab and, he tells me, is part of a much larger research project he and his fellow researchers are doing to uncover the true human sexuality through physiological cues.
By having them watch porn, which cannot be used as an accurate measure of reflecting people's sexuality. Again, I like yuris. Both yuris. That doesn't mean that I have an interest in a romantic relationship with a dude. Now, the term gay, in the context of whether or not traps are gay, is to ask the question of whether or not having sex with them is gay. And it is. Two straight people having a gay sex is definitely gay. But if we're talking about sexuality and what you identify as, where I say I'm straight, that means that my relationship interest is purely heterosexual. If I have a gay sex with someone, that doesn't mean that I have an interest in pursuing a serious homosexual relationship. Again, most of you don't hire prostitutes to marry them.
The result of Savin Williams' study challenges deeply held cultural beliefs about sexuality, but he's not surprised to find that sexuality is more complex than gay and straight. I'm certainly not surprised, he says. We're trying to get at the way people really are. Sometimes it seems people are one way, but believe they have to report themselves in another way, and that's not good.
That's because you're measuring things through people watching porn. This study's methodology is horrendous. The data that you gather cannot form that conclusion. It only means that people get turned on with certain kinds of sexual activities that are beyond the limits of their own sexuality. That's pretty freaking common. Go ask anybody who watches porn. They will see and get turned on to almost anything, depending on how degenerate they are.
Savin Williams explains that the motivation for individuals to inaccurately self-report their desire is a consequence of restrictive social influence, the norms that determine how individuals are perceived and treated. He's been working on the idea that he calls the mostly straight male, We've always recognized mostly straight women, that is, women who mostly are straight, but if the right woman comes along, well, maybe she'll try it out. We used to think that was only a female phenomenon.
So, what you're saying is, I am straight because of societal pressure, and that straight people can turn up to be gay once they figure out the right person. No, I am straight because I want to have a romantic relationship with women. I have best friends, great friends at school that are male, but I'm not sexually attracted to any of them. If people identify as straight, that's what their sexual preferences are. That's who they want to have in a serious relationship with. You cannot measure this with porn and people's reaction to porn. Case in point.
We show straight men a picture of a woman masturbating and they respond just like a straight guy. But then you also show them a guy masturbating and their eyes dilate a little bit. So we're actually able to show physiologically that all guys are not either gay, straight, or bi.
Wow. You just came into the conclusion that all people are not either gay, straight, or bi on the fact that they're okay seeing guys jerking off. In almost every porn ever, people see dicks being jerked off by women. That doesn't mean that people who watch them are gay. How can you come into this conclusion? Jesus Christ.
The various part of Seven Williams' study collectively addressed sexuality in both men and women, showing that boring ideas such as that people are either 100% straight or gay don't endure under objective scientific scrutiny.
Objective scientific scrutiny. I need that Ghostbusters clip.
Your theories are the worst kind of popular tripe, your methods are sloppy, and your conclusions are highly questionable. You are a poor scientist.
From the suffragettes of the 19th century to the various social justice movements that arose in the mid-20th, political activists have sought to undo structural inequality in the United States. Even cultural norms that are seemingly innocuous can play a significant role in maintaining gender inequity. And that undue inequality justifies a genocide to the idea of heterosexuality.
Look, I know that you LGBT people got some bad rep. I've had to deal with lots and lots of cases of LGBT people in my country alone being unfairly discriminated against. I tried my best to help some of them. People went on to raid a crackdown on gay clubs because they violate porn laws or something. Aceh is cuckoo back then, it's still cuckoo now. But your solution to all of this is by saying straight people don't exist. Fine. You convince me that straight people don't exist. Your study is a very accurate way of measuring people's romantic interests. What then? What are you gonna do after that? All people are LGBT. If they're not LG, they're definitely B. Okay? What then? What is your goal? Your LGBT took over the world. Congratulations. What then? I'm also going to extend this question to the Tumblrites who say, oh, black people can be racist towards white people because slavery back then. Just recently, Vice did this. All your favorite cartoon characters are black. And the funniest part is some of them aren't even cartoons. Some aren't even human. Alright, so you invaded pop culture and declared all characters black, and then in the real world, you do every horrendous thing that white people did back then, probably more. You watched 12 Years a Slave and thought, you know, Magneto, he's a little bit too tame. You did this to the point where you kill white people, murder white people, enslave white people, and you take over the White House. And name it the Black House or something. What then? What would you do then? Equality achieved! Justice for black people achieved! What then? You just killed white people, you just murder everybody, enslave them. Is that what you want? You want world domination? I'm also gonna extend this question to feminists who say, oh, we can't be sexist towards men because discrimination, blah 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 blah. Again, you do these horrendous things that men did to you throughout history and more to the point where women dominates the White House and men don't exist. What then? What would you do right after that? I'm seriously starting to think that these Tumblrites are Saturday morning cartoon villains who wants to, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
Through this large study on human sexuality, Seven Williams and his fellow researchers aim to alter the idea of those norms as scientifically factual.
Well, at least you're being honest on your attempts at changing history.
I do see this loosening of the boundaries, he says. I think that's happening for both sexes. It's probably a good thing because it gives kids growing up more diversity, more options, so they don't feel like they have to fit in at all costs. Straight women and straight men feel much more comfortable than ever before in going to the realm of the other sex in terms of gender role and how they act.
Well, no shit. You measure things based on what people watch at porn, not on who they want to have a long-lasting relationship with. I'm done with this article. It's basically saying we have this completely questionable research that proved that heterosexuality doesn't exist so that we can undo inequalities suffered by LGBT people. And by undo, I mean removing the idea of heterosexuality in its entirety. Again, to all of you Saturday morning cartoon supervillains, you took the world. What then? What are you gonna do with it? How would the world run under your dictatorship or something? Have you ever thought of that? And sorry if that got way off topic from the original article about fandoms and fangirls and yaois, but I just want to highlight in the point that creators can do whatever they want. If you're gonna put your story to cater to certain groups of demographics because they go wah about it on Twitter and say that they have PTSD over it, nothing productive is going to be gained. You're never going to please these people. These people are cuckoos in the first place. So I just want to ask all of these Japanese mangakas, all of you content creators out there, your fandoms can get fucking cuckoo. And to all of these Tumblrites, as someone who has been on Tumblr and fanfiction.net and DeviantArt and are probably years younger or slightly older than you, you should know better. You should very well know better that ships sinking are fucking common. I can deal with ships sinking. You all should know that by now. We can have spaces where we can enjoy fan arts and fan fictions of our favorite ships. That's fine. But going into creators and telling them to kill themselves because your ship is canon, it just shows to me what a pathetic human being you are. You're so pathetic, even Mary Sue is calling you out. And to all of these social justice warriors who want to curb unjust inequality, how far are you going to curb it? When is enough going to be enough? Is it going to be enough by the time you take over the world? I honestly don't know, you people. I really don't. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead, click like button, and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.